Civil rights activists unveil a new plan to reform one of Maryland's police departments. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Rochelle Metzger.
And I'm Patricia Vallone. Thank you for joining us this evening. Well, the death of Freddie Gray while in the custody of Baltimore police continues to be a catalyst for change. As Byron Scott reports, groups are demanding action.
We've come together to realize that when it comes to the issue of police brutality, that it is a common struggle.
A coalition of groups gathered outside Baltimore City Hall this afternoon to present a 6-point plan they say will reform the Baltimore Police Department.
And our first demand is we want to fire police officers who have demonstrated corruption or unnecessary violence.
The second demand would be to remove the gag order of victims of police misconduct.
The city's current plan is to equip 2,500 police officers with body cameras in 2017. This is way too long.
The recommendations come from the Center for American Justice. It and other organizations began working on the plan shortly after the death of Freddie Gray.
We wanted to make sure that this agenda was one that our city could act on right away.
Police say the demands appear reasonable, but add some changes, like removing gag orders on victims of police misconduct settlements, is out of their hands.
That's something that will have to be addressed through the legislature. So it's a conversation that's being had here.
As for the remaining 3 demands,
Baltimore City Police should stop rewarding police officers for the amount of arrests they make and the amount of drugs that they're collecting.
One of our priorities is to ensure that every police officer is trained in de-escalation techniques.
On the need to publish all Baltimore City Police Department policies online.
There is nothing in this report that the city could not enact next week if they wanted to.
While police decide whether to implement all 6 of those recommendations, if they do, it will likely take longer than protesters here want. In the meantime, other protesters will meet with the police commissioner over the next few days, all of it aimed at creating better relations between the police and the community. In Baltimore, Byron Scott, CTV News.
And police will begin a body camera pilot program later this month. Protesters want it fully implemented by next year. Police say it will likely take longer.
Controversy over the scheduled closure of Laurel Regional Hospital continues. We told you yesterday that 2 residents and a workers' union have filed for a temporary restraining order to halt those plans and are seeking an injunction to stop the elimination of licensed beds and services. Tonight, we hear from both sides of the suit, which accuses operator Dimensions Healthcare of violating a lease agreement and council resolution. Dimensions won't comment on pending litigation, but a spokesperson tells CTV plans have been misconstrued. But after layoffs earlier this month, employees like Lionel Chapman, a father of 9, are fearful their jobs could be next.
Unfortunately, you revamp your resume and you kind of have to split yourself, because not only am I worried and concerned and watching whatever penny I can put away, but I still have to come to work and serve the best capacity I can while I'm here.
We will continue to have ambulatory care. We will continue to have ambulatory surgeries, outpatient surgeries. We will continue to have the emergency department will be there, which is still operated and managed by University of Maryland Medical System. We will still have chronic care. We will still have inpatient rehabilitation, and we're not going anywhere.
Back in July, Dimensions announced plans to transition Laurel into an ambulatory care center in 2018. Last week, it eliminated the maternal child health unit, resulting in layoffs, with another round expected next month.
Some 900 workers' jobs are on the line after Safeway announced last week that it plans to close 2 distribution centers in Prince George's County. CTV's Sonia Srivastava is in Upper Marlboro, where many of the workers are holding a protest.
Well, dozens of workers have gathered outside here, the Leland Road facility in Upper Marlboro, the Safeway distribution center just outside here. And they are telling us that they've really had no warning that the company, C&S Grocers, was going to close this distribution center and another one in Landover. And now they are asking for a moratorium on these closures.
The little man loses again.
Tempers are flaring after C&S Wholesale Grocers announced plans to shut down this distribution center in Upper Marlboro and another one in Landover. Many here, including Milford Washington, who has worked for the company for 20 years, say they feel blindsided.
The shoe truck came one day and everybody purchased new shoes, in this expectation that we were going to be here. And the very next day they had a meeting saying, hey, we need to be out of here by December the 6th.
That's 700 people you're talking about. Their livelihoods have been taken away. What are you going to do?
We will not take it lightly when these companies come to us again, as they still must do business in this county and this state.
The workers in this facility, whether union or non-union, sacrificed for this company, gave concessions for 6 years. Yes, the state of Maryland and PG County helped build these facilities behind us.
Safeway needs to understand that if they want the goodwill of the people of Maryland, if they want the goodwill of the consumers of Maryland, they've already gotten the goodwill, of the taxpayers of Maryland. We're putting money in to the facility that's here right now.
It's unacceptable that they would not even give us the courtesy of giving us notice and giving us a chance, our Economic Development Office, to work with them to see how we can change this.
Now, the general president of the Teamsters Union has sent a letter to the president of Albertson Companies, which recently acquired Safeway, asking him for a moratorium on these closures. In Upper Marlboro, I'm Sonia Srivastava. Back to you.
C&S Wholesale Grocers, the company that operates the warehouses, also supplies goods to Target and other chain stores.
Maryland is taking action to end the use of the Confederate flag on license plates. A federal judge has lifted an injunction that was banned back in 1997, preventing the recall of specialty plates for the last 18 years. The state has issued 470 since 1996, but only 178 are still active. Attorney General Brian Frosh, who supports the recall, says, quote, "It has no place in any contemporary government use." Back in June, the U.S. Supreme Court decided that states can reject specialty plates as a form of government speech. The ruling goes into effect on November 17th. And a Laurel volunteer firefighter chief is being called a hero tonight for coming to the aid of a firefighter. Chief Dwayne Hull received an award this afternoon for rescuing Captain Daniel Fletcher. Fletcher was battling a townhouse fire in July when he fell through a burned-out stairwell. Hull heard him scream and pulled him to safety.
Fletcher was in a position where he was unable to activate his pass device to indicate he was in trouble. All he could do was holler to the person that was closest to him. Chief Hull happened to be there. And it's one of those situations where, had those circumstances not come together at the right time, we might be having a different story. So it's really important we make this recognition.
Fletcher suffered minor injuries in the incident.
A major traffic headache on the Capitol Beltway this afternoon. This as authorities were called to investigate a suspicious package on the pedestrian walkway of the Wilson Bridge. Officials shut down the local lanes of the inner loop near the bridge as the bomb squad was called in. As traffic backed up, multiple agencies investigated the package. After a few hours, however, officials gave the all clear and opened all lanes to traffic.
And you're watching CTV News. I'm Rochelle Metzger.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.